More terrible news on the state of ICE detention facilities. This time we're going to be zooming in on a particular one. This is the Adelanto ICE Processing Center here in California. And wait until you hear what is going on there. When federal officials arrived in May of this year for a surprise inspection, this privately run, bear that in mind, immigration detention facility, they found nooses made from bed sheets in 15 of 20 cells. I have looked into it. That is not how many there's supposed to be. Supposed to be many less than that.
Jesus,
15
man.
out of 20. So these are people who have either attempted to commit suicide or are readying themselves to attempt to commit suicide because of how horrible the conditions they're being kept are in. So when the Department of Homeland Security officials asked to contract guards who oversaw the housing units why they didn't remove the bed sheets, they echoed that it was not a high priority. The guy giving them the tour then started to remove the nooses, but realized there's too many nooses, I don't have time, and he stopped. This is while the inspectors are with him. He gave up on removing nooses.
Yeah, that was the high priority. It was being discovered the kind of conditions that you have there that will force people to contemplate suicide, attempt it, and also some, of course, successful in doing so.
Yeah, there have been successful suicides.
So
there.
once the inspectors are there, it's like a restaurant that's filthy, and then finally the health inspector comes by and like, oh, let's clean up this rat poop now and get it off of the kitchen floor. No, how about you just keep your place clean in the first place? That's what your business is. Do it right.
Yeah. Well, specifically, this is let's clean up this rat poop. It's too much rat poop. I give up.
Yeah, no, you have to give up now. They've already discovered us. We're already getting the D rating. It's already over.
Exactly. By the way, one of the inmates said that the guards laugh at them and call them suicide failures once they're back from medical when they attempt to commit suicide if they're not successful. So that is the approach that these private facility guards have.
So let's go on to the reason why people have, you want to judge someone's character, how they treat other people. And they go, oh, you're just bringing up someone's character and personality. Why don't you talk about what they've done? The way they are and who they treat people, especially people that they think are lesser than them as humans, they will laugh at them and they'll say, you got back from medical, you're a suicide failure. That's what leads, a certain approach to someone's being and your character is based off of what you're gonna do with them when they're basically in your care.
Yeah, and imagine if you're one of the other people at this facility, not knowing how long you're gonna be kept there. And what you see is guards mocking people who've attempted to take their own lives. Like, imagine the hopelessness and the despair that would come over you as a result of even witnessing that. And it has consequences. The Times reported in August of last year that there had been at least 5 attempted suicide at the facility in less than 1 year. Those are the ones that are actually reported, by the way. And beyond the suicides, which is obviously bad enough, in terms of how they treat these people with medical care and all of that, detainees reported waiting weeks and months to see a doctor, and inspectors met with a dentist who dismissed the necessity of fillings and suggested that detainees use string from their socks to floss, which is both obviously not going to work and also about as degrading and condescending a bit of medical advice I think I've ever seen.
Now, once given those, I don't know if you can get to this part, but getting deeper into the reasons why they told people to use their strings from their socks to floss is because people's teeth were rotting and falling out, cavities weren't being filled or even taken care of. Some of these dentists said, I don't have the time or energy to do this because there's too many of these cases to handle because this private basically prison isn't making enough money. So in doing so, they said, hey, in order to avoid any kind of more tooth decay, you gotta floss. Oh, but guess how floss is obtained in this private facility? Through your commissary. You know what's in the commissary?
Stuff you have to pay
more
for?
money. So if you need to use your commissary to get some floss and they say, I don't have any because I'm an asylum seeker from another country, they go, oh, well, use your socks then. There's no way out. It's pushing someone into a corner because there's an inhumane approach to how these people are, or even reasons why they're there. Oh, are these all criminals? I want to point that part out too.
No, it's actually not. So it's probably too late to jump in front of the right-wing comments on this video. They're probably assuming that these are all terrorists, committed members of ISIS, probably the leadership of ISIS. No, among those held at this particular facility are asylum seekers, people caught in immigration sweeps, and those identified by authorities as potentially deportable after landing in jail. So look, the people caught in immigration sweeps technically have broken the law. They've broken immigration law. Theoretically, they have broken no laws other than that. But they will be put into hell on earth in this Adelanto facility. And those asylum seekers, those are people that haven't broken any law whatsoever, except they're gonna go here and God only knows what's gonna happen to them. God help them if their health fails while they're at this facility. No. And by the way, this is information from 2017. This is how bad it already was under the status quo half a year into Donald Trump. Probably terrible before that. Partially because they don't care about these people, partially because it's a privately held facility and their goal is to make money, not to actually provide a good experience for these people. This is before they started taking in tens of thousands of additional people and not releasing them. So if this is what it was like in 2017, God only knows what's gonna happen when these inspectors go back in a year and see in these temporary facilities, the tent cities that are set up. Do you believe that they're gonna be taking better care of these people?
So for the people who wanna say it's not just Donald Trump's fault or his administration's fault, I agree with you, because in 2012, there was another report from the ICE detention oversight that found there's the same thing for the requests for medical care were delayed and put aside. So that's a similar problem, right? So that stuff happened in the past. So when you enhance—
In this case, under Obama.
Yeah, so when you enhance that same problem and add more people to the system, or then also project this whole sense of hate towards certain groups of people that come in, you're gonna add to that problem. So yes, there was many things wrong in the Obama administration, which many of us pointed out. And then when no one focuses on that, at least from people in opposing parties, don't focus on those parts and want to fix that, and then you bring someone that's even more horrific in these types of things, it gets worse. Do you still not care, or does it mean you care a little less? Because no matter what, you never cared for these people in the first place and what the reasons for being here was, or what the treatment they got once they got to this shining city on the hill. Because that's what asylum seekers think. Oh man, maybe I have a chance to survive now. Because I came from a really horrible place. But it somehow gets worse.
Yeah, and look, the lesson should be the same under both. These should not be privately owned and operated facilities. They don't care, and they will continue to treat people this horribly under Republicans as well as under Democrats. We shouldn't be holding anywhere near as many people as we certainly now, but even before, that is obvious. And thank God, by the way, for the activists who, in response to one of the suicides at one of these locations, started putting public pressure to find out what was going on there. That's why we have this information. Not because the government decided to take it more seriously, but because regular citizens got involved and made sure that light was shed on what was going on there.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.